Hi, jewells68 here for Talk to Me Tuesday on Thursday, December 10th. So Tuesday kind of got away from me, and Wednesday was just busy. So I'm here on Thursday to talk to you about what's going on crafty-wise. So first things, Phoebe's Project of Doom. The top is completely done. The paper is taken off the back. I just need to baste it, quilt it, and bind it. Anyway, so I'm not going to show you that until it's completely done, I've decided. I do have 3 things to show you, though. Well, 4 if you count this beautiful fabric that I just got delivered from thousandsofbolts.com, which is going to be used in the X-Files Stitch Along, which I'm getting ready to print some of my patterns. I had been using that, the wash away works great, the stuff that you buy by the yard that I mentioned before, but because some of these patterns are kind of big, I'm going to use the printable just to save some time and effort. Printable stabilizer for my embroidery blocks. Second thing on the agenda, my daughter, her birthday was in November, and she went on a little bit, she wanted to go on a little bit of a shopping spree. She bought this pretty, like, it looks like a faux sheepskin, but it's fleece sweater, but she didn't try it on at the store, took all the tags off, threw them away, and then realized that the wrists were like totally, the arms were like skin tight, like she could barely get her arm through there, which was really weird. So I had a remnant of fleece of this kind of dark gray, which I thought was a nice contrast. Everything else has like kid prints on it and stuff, so it really wasn't good for this. This is what's left, and I just did a nice clean cut and then cut some little fringe at the bottom to make a little scarf that I can donate to somebody. Meanwhile, here is what I did. I basically just cut off the seam because it was a serge seam being knit fleece. I just completely cut the seam out on both sides. I cut a 4-inch strip, 2 4-inch strips by width of fabric of the fleece. And I got my trusty serger out, which I hadn't used in forever. And I serged, and you can see on here on the inside, I just serged all the way up the entire seam, including the armpit. So I just serged from waist to wrist, did the same all the way back on the other side. Now this left, I had a finished edge of the white fleece, the original fleece, and I had a raw edge of the other fleece, and she really didn't like having that one little bit of raw edge sitting there. And here's the other side. So what I did was I just turned the whole waistline over just like a 1/2 inch, enough to get a nice finished seam here, and I stitched all the way around with a zigzag. Because the gray is a different color, obviously, I just used matching thread on the white or off-white. I stitched all of the off-white first, including the wrists. I did the same thing on the wrist. Then I went back with gray thread and did just the gray parts, which will actually help a little bit with some of the stretch too. So that is now, I can now give it back to her because I haven't let her have it yet till I can show it to you guys. So that is now done. So she just has this kind of nice contrast, almost like a racing stripe of the dark right here, up each side underneath to the wrist. Then, as we all know, Project Linus, my goal was a minimum of 12 blankets donated, made by me this year. And as of last month in November, I was at 11. So I needed to get 1 done for this meeting, and I really hadn't worked on, I've been crocheting a little bit, but I am nowhere, I'm not even halfway done, I don't think, with my sideways shell crochet blanket that I was working on. So I took some more remnants of fleece that were not big enough to use by themselves, and just like crochet an edge around or serge an edge around. And since I had my serger out already, I trimmed these 2 bits of fleece that I had. One was like this, which was like circles with little goldfish in them, and one was just a solid fluorescent orange, which was only like 18 to 20, maybe 24 inches wide. Trimmed all that. Oh, actually, I didn't even trim it. I trimmed the side that I was stitching up together, and I left the serger out while I had it out. I changed over to a 3-thread, 1 needle seam, and originally I tried doing what I had seen on Nancy, Sewing with Nancy, where but she was using a really fancy serger, where she did a flat lock seam. And so my original seam was done that way with what was supposed to be a flat lock seam, but mine just didn't come out using the blind hem foot. Mine just didn't, the blind hem foot was really giving me a pain in the behind, and it was not giving me what I wanted. So I just switched back over to my regular foot and left the settings the same, and I stitched, well, this is the back, so this is the nice, I'm calling it the back, and I put the label there, which I just fused on, but it really, technically, I think this blanket could be reversible, because you've got this nice seam on the back where you don't even see the seam, and then on this side you've got, so neither of these, this one was maybe 2.5 to 30 inches, 30, not quite a yard wide. I would say it was probably about 2 feet wide, and this one was maybe 18 inches wide, the orange. So together they made just the right size, a good size for like a teen throw, or at least a middle school age throw. But here's the seam. I used 1 cone of, I used red thread in the needle, no, green thread in the needle, red thread, well, I don't know, I used in the looper, which is what kind of goes around the outside of the seam, and you see it the most, I used a rainbow, like a multi-variegated, bright color, primary colors, woolly nylon thread, and serger thread, and it's a little bit bulkier. It's almost more like a very thin roving when it comes to thread, and I used that in the looper, and then I used solid red thread in the other looper, and solid green thread in the needle. And this is how it came out. It was very cute, I think. I'll hold it up a little bit closer. And back up there. And then I just got my sides and ends as even as I could make them. And then I took a plate and put that on the edge and gave myself a rounded corner, because it's so much easier to serge around a curve than it is to do corners. So I just curved the edges so that I could just do one continuous serge all the way around the outside. And then you can't even really see, I mean, this is the end right here. You can't even really see. So I think that came out really great. I'll put a picture, I'll take a picture and I'll put that in so you can see the whole thing. The last thing I made was another Fitbit deal. Now, I showed you the wrist one I made with the same yarn that I used for my anklet, Fitbit cuff or bracelet. I had an anklet one. I had knit one out of cotton sock yarn. It fell off my wrist and I couldn't find it. And then I found it on the corner of the rug, and Pouncy had eaten the wristband part of it, the loop. So all that was left was the little, so I can add a strap back onto it. But until I have a chance to do that, because knitting takes me a little longer. This past Sunday, I made this cuff out of a scrap of flannel that was left from one of Phoebe's cosplays a couple of years ago. I basically took and made a little pocket right here, and I made a tube here, which I used a little bit sort of a medium interfacing on one side of the flannel, of the inside of the flannel. And then turned it right side out and sewed the pocket on, and added some Velcro. I actually glued the Velcro on while I was working on the little pocket. Whoops! While I was working on the little pocket, and then when I was doing all my stitching, I just did a quick stitching of the Velcro just to make sure it's safe. And I love this. It's been super soft, super comfortable. I'm definitely going to make more of this style. They're really cute. And very easy on and off, and it stays secure all day. The end of the pocket is open, but it's right near the closure, the Velcro closure, and the pocket is longer than the Fitbit mechanism itself, so it basically stays secure in there. And I can adjust it by having, you know, the Velcro just slightly wider than making it super snug, so I can adjust it back and forth to make it sort of a multi-size kind of thing. So yeah, I was really proud of that. It's super comfortable. I've been wearing it. People don't even know that that's what this is. They just think it's some sort of little punk fabric cuff thing. So yeah, so that's what I've been up to. I gotta go. I have a little laundry in. So, and I'm baking some squash in the oven. I have a half day this morning, so I'm taking advantage to get my video done and get a few chores done around the house before I go into work. I will, I've enjoyed watching your videos. I'm caught up with everything as of this morning. And I will see you next week. Bye!